Yo. Hey guys, it's Jessica with Better Creek Model Horses with another video. I'm not sure how long it's going to be. I'm just kind of like, there's some things I want to go over. There's some things I want to talk about. But I'm pre-recording because it's going to be a busy week next week. So, and I've gotten some orders in, that I had recently gotten, ordered, obviously, that we'll just go over. But the main topic for this video is going to be something completely different. First and foremost, some housekeeping stuff. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you guys for all of the likes and the love and everything like that for the channel. Don't forget to like us on Facebook and whatnot. So, just some small stuff. I'm going to be busy coming up because of photo stuff and stock show stuff. So it's fall, so it's getting kind of it's getting that crazy. So bear with me. So as far as the photo show, I have no idea when that's gonna happen, just because it's so busy. So just bear with me on that one too, just because it's crazy right now. So I'm hoping to have that thing sometime, but like I said, it's kind of nuts. So my topic of conversation today, we'll start off with the things that I have. Unfortunately, I won't be able to show you anything because that will go into my next deal that I want to talk about, my next topic. I got a few orders in, and actually, funny story, I found some stuff today. But we'll go over that. So, starting off, I got two brand new Peter Stones, both drafters. One's a trotting drafter, one's a standing drafter. They are currently packed away at the moment because I'll go into that in here a little bit. But awesome. So hopefully the grade assignments that I gave them were okay. We'll see. Next up are some of the Tractor Supply stuff. And funny story about that is I went to Tractor Supply today to actually check to see if they had gotten the traditional horses, because some places in the United States have their traditional horses in. So I wanted to check, and they didn't, but I asked the guy, when they're going to be in. And so sorry. And he told me when, but he also said, hey, we've got those over there. And it turns out it was the mystery full stablemate sets, which I had been wanting anyway. So I ended up with all three of them, actually. All three of them, especially the draft horse one, because I absolutely love that little Georg, or whatever I love him, and I love the foal that came with it. I'm not the trotting drafter or the action drafter mare that's in there. I like her, but not as much as the stallion or the gelding, whatever, the daddy horse in that set. So, with that being said, that's pretty much it on new stuff. The Breyer second chance sale came up the other day on, I think, Thursday, and I went ahead and put my order in. I got a surprise horse, the Edge of Glory, which I had missed in the original one. We had talked about that. And I also picked up, who did I pick up? A Sorry Not Sorry, because I sold my Sorry Not Sorry. So I picked up another Sorry Not Sorry, and I'm kind of hoping for the matte, because I do love the matte. I love glossies, don't get me wrong. I'm a glossy queen. We talk about this. But I like my mattes too. So, especially on him, because it's better to photo show him versus anyhow. And plus, it's the rarer version. So, that brings us into my next topic. And it is something that's completely just, I'm just going to go over it because it's what I do. It's not necessarily the proper thing. I mean, there's people who have done this a lot longer than me, and I'll just go over my process to get ready for one. It's completely different compared to everybody else, but this is just my way of doing it. Getting ready to, sorry, I had a yawn, go to a live show in Kansas. This is the first year I'll ever be doing this, just because there's not very many of them in my area, and the ones that are going on are usually way too far for us to travel. So my mom and I are the ones that do this. Um, so we're going to Kansas. We're going to the Mid Kansas Live Show because the one that's coming up is the Minis in Manhattan, and we can't make that just because it's my husband and I's anniversary weekend. Not gonna happen. So we're gonna go to the Mid Kansas Live Show, and that means we have to get prepared for a show. This has been weeks in the making. You guys can. This is late at night when I'm actually recording this, so I am so sorry. So that means that we've got to get ready for a show, aka this has been months in the making right now since I decided I wanted to go to this thing, and mom and I both agreed, like, hey, let's just get out, let's go try something different. Kansas is not too bad. Mom and dad literally live like 15 minutes from the border, so not too bad. So we just decided, you know what, let's go, we're fine, we'll be great. But it's a completely different structure. Well, it's similar but different compared to the one that I'm used to. So I'm just going to go over kind of what I do to get prepared for a live show. The first thing that I do, like the very first thing, is I find out information about the show. It's usually online or Facebook. Most of the ones, I'm lucky, they'll have a show packet for me. Actually, let me go dig mine out right. They'll have a show packet ready for you to print out. I actually just printed this off the website. They didn't have a necessarily like PDF file. The one that I do in May has a PDF file. But this one, I just took it off of the website because I always like to have the rules. I always like to have the class lists and everything handy on the day of the show. And so the next things I do is I just go through all of the rules. I figure out what kind of card system they like to use, because we'll go over that later. But I figure out what kind of card system what they want to use, the types of classes, how many classes, blah, 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 blah. Just to get more comfortable and figure out, hey, is this going to work for me, or is this, because I don't have, some people have an exhibitor's number. I do not have an exhibitor's number. Like some of the places that I go to have exhibitor numbers, or not that I go to, but like the other people that I know of go to, they have exhibitor numbers. I don't have one. I don't know how to get one. That's a whole new to me. Most of the shows, the only shows that I've been to do not have exhibitor numbers. So as soon as I figure out the rules and everything like that, and I read through them and I figure out, hey, blah, 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 I pretty much just get my entry fee in. It kind of depends. Some of the show hosts will take PayPal. Some of them will take check and money order. It just depends. So I get my fee in. I ask all of the questions of the show host, because most of them, it's kind of I'm not going to say it's a small knit community, but we know people, we know each other. So I just start reaching out, asking questions and whatnot, and then I start just preparing everything. Start figuring out, look at the class list, look and say, hey, I've got this and this and this. And that's when I start doing my list of horses that I have. I make a spreadsheet of it. And I'll kind of show you. So this is what my spreadsheet looks like. I have got, if I can find my mouse, I've got two different types of them because these are two different shows. But I break them down into original, finished, traditional, which you guys can see down there. I also, custom, traditional, original, finished minis, and custom minis, which I'm not taking them this year to this show just because it's my first show. And I just don't have that many of them anymore. I've got a lot of original finishes, but so I start going through that list, and I start, I had to redo this one because the structure is different. The classes, the breeds are different than the one that I'm normally used. So I just remade it. And I start going through there, and I classify them via class number, class name. Then I use a common name like the Roxy, or Hidalgo or something. And then I put their name, and then I put what breed they are and what gender they are. That's kind of how I make my class, or my my horse list, pretty much. And I do that for every one of the horses, and every in the order that they are showing, obviously, just because you've got to be prepared. And then I put a little space for Champ in there just because, that gives me, I'm a visual person, that gives me a visual cue that, hey, chill out unless you have one in there. Now, do I always use this thing? I try to, but sometimes it gets nuts and I just know off the top of my head, hey, I do have a quarter horse in that quarter horse class. I better get my butt up there and put my quarter horse on that table. But from there, I mean, um, have everything broken down. I'm like looking at it too because like I said, I'm a visual person. I break it down into all the breeds and everything like that. Um, so that's pretty much the next step that I do is I start, and this thing takes a little bit to get done just because I do add horses or I take horses off. It just depends. If I'm not feeling like um I would show one at another show and decide, you know what, I don't feel like showing this in the next show. So, and that's what I would do. That's what I did on this one. I kind of cropped a bunch of horses out of here just because I don't feel like taking them. This is my first time showing up here. I don't want to, I've got to get the layout of everything. I've got to know what's going on. So I don't feel really comfortable taking everything. And then the next step I do is I start getting all the horses out pretty much. So I do show in the summertime. This one's going to be kind of in the fall. So the summer show, everything should have the little hang tags. And I like to do that just because it helps me identify who they are, which most of them I know off the top of my head anyway, just because I photo show too. But most of them will have the hang tags from the previous show, but if they don't, I will make sure and get those done. I use these little dingle tags. You can find them at Walmart. They're awesome. And I go through everything, make sure that they have them. If they don't, put one on there. And that's what this helps me. The list helps me because it's got the name, it's got the breed, and everything that needs to go on there. And then as soon as I do that, I start making my index cards. And the index cards are ones that they are not permanent. Well, I'm not going to say the hang tags are not permanent, but they're not a static thing. They don't stay on there from show to show. But I start making these guys. This year I decided to print them out instead of writing them out because it was going to take me a lot of time and I just didn't have the time. But most of the time I do write them out. And this year on this show it's a little different than what I'm used to, so I had to get myself used to that the way that they structured their cards. But that's what I do, and that usually is the longest. It takes the longest to get done is doing those cards, just because there's, like I said, a handful of horses that I take and they have to have cards. But what I do is instead of just making one card per horse, I make two because they take those. So I have to make duplicates of every card. And I store them in let me get this. I store them in this giant thing. This is like a big giant briefcase practically that has all of my cards. It has extra supplies like scissors. I need to find my scissors. Actually, I don't have my scissors in there. It has scissors. I have this that has all of my hang tags and all my pins, and that goes in that. It's kind of deep. It's like it's like this deep. It also has my class list. It'll have this. I'll print this off because I think I'm done with it, so I'm going to print it off. It's going to go in there. I also have some crocheted like pads. I'm not going to say pads, but like crochet mats that I ordered off of Etsy, and I actually got one from my custom person. And those will go in there as well because there's some horses like my Glossy Wells that I just don't feel comfortable putting on that table. And he's good. He's in fine condition, so I'm just going to lay him on that mat. And I don't want to risk him falling off that table, so I'm just going to use the mat. I'll show you the mat. They're so cute. So here's one of the mats. These things are adorable, and they actually came from an Oklahoma girl. But that's pretty much, I'm just going to call it the briefcase because that's pretty much what it is a brief. And then I'm still pretty much what all happens that I just explained kind of happens. I'm not going to say, I may have talked about it in order, but sometimes it doesn't happen in order all the time. So I mean, I pretty much just go through the horses, make sure they're good, they have their tags. There's a bunch of new horses, like my 2024 Briarfest haul that came in. I'm going to show them all, see how they do with the breeds that I gave them. They had to get wrapped, so I wrapped them or put them in their pony pouches or whatever. And that's pretty much, I just assess where everything's at and what needs to be done from there. And then after that, I'm pretty much done except for as I'm going through, going over these new horses and everything like that, and the breeds that I assign them. I reference the cross reference list for the NAMSA on their website. I go through that a lot, and I start making. I use it on. I want to say it's like a Google. It's a Google spreadsheet and a Google Doc document deal. It's kind of like Word and Excel, but Google. And I use those because I can access them anywhere. So on my phone or whatnot, it just depends. But I go between the Excel spreadsheet and a Google Doc, which is all of my breed references. Now, they're not fancy. They're not, they're not pretty by any means. They're just simple breed references. But this is my Google Doc, and I just have a list of all of my breeds but I have them broken down between, let me see, I have them broken down between, like, Spanish. Here's my Spanish breeds. Oops, sorry. Here's my Spanish breeds. I have my draft breeds. That's the one I was recently working on. My gated sport, because I just usually break them into types, like how they are at the show and whatnot. So, and I've got one for like Arabians and whatnot. So, but that's kind of worked on as I'm working on all of this too. And then pretty much the last thing I do before we head out to the show is I print everything off. I do have a breed book. It's about like a little yay big binder. That's where all of my breed reference stuff goes. And that's packed away. Because like I said, I mean, like I said, I'm nearing the completion of this process, but, I make sure that I have, because some of those horses I put duplicate breeds on. Like, I have 3 North American spotted drafts in one class. I mean, I'm going to have multiple breed cards on that deal. So, but that's pretty much the entirety of the process that goes on for me. Now, is it different for everybody else? Yes. Will people look at it and be like, nah, that's not right? Okay, but it works for me. It doesn't have to be in stone. This is how it needs to be done. That's just what I do. And I wanted to share it with y'all because why not? Jessica and editing Jessica here. Something I forgot to mention that I do have, as well as the identification cards, or like the breed reference cards, is I put them in the sleeves, the page protectors, but they're like half of a page protector. I want to say, I don't know the exact, measurements and whatnot of them, but they're pretty much half of a page, regular size 8x11 page protector. It's half of that. So I don't know. You can find them on Amazon. You can pick whatever you want to do. Some people laminate them. Some people put them in these page protectors. I have an entire binder full of them, and they're very handy to keep your breed references in shape. Things that are a must-have for me on show day is plenty of these guys. I use a lot of Sharpies just because I can see them better, and pens just in case. But mostly, sorry, I had to grab one of my cards. Mostly Sharpies, because I can just see this better. I do use for my little hang tags, I use the finer tipped Sharpies. I don't know if you can see that, but the finer tipped Sharpies, or like the pens. Like here's one of the Sharpie pens I use because they're so much easier to write on. You can use a pen, whatever. I just like using the Sharpies because it's Sharpie. It stays there better. I still bring, this may not be what everybody should, like what I should be doing, but I just can't afford a bunch of them at the moment, is bubble wrap. I bring a lot of bubble wrap with me just to wrap everything because on on the day of the show, you're showing. For me, like, this is what happened this year, is I had to start packing away as soon as possible, just because I didn't want to be there later, because it's just, you don't want to be waiting. You don't want to have the show host or hostess waiting on you as you're trying to pack up your stuff. So Mom and I, we work in a well-oiled machine. We pack things as soon as they're back from the table, unless they're a first or a second and they have to go back up again. So, and then, but she takes pictures too. She takes pictures of everything, and I take pictures when I can, but usually I'm running back and forth. So she's the documentation person. So that's just kind of how we work. But those are the must-haves. And also a couple of must-haves is plenty of freaking tape and plenty of these guys, because, woo, just in case. I'm going to actually put those in there because, yeah, that's scary if I don't have any. You can always run to Walmart or something, but still, it's like, I don't want to have to do that. I'm going to be tired because I'm going to be driving. But anyway, this year, it's going to be kind of new since I did go ahead and print off stuff. I glue sticked some stuff. Yes, I probably could make some labels and whatnot, but, I'm cheap right now. I have to, because, I'm an adult, and I don't, anywho. But, so that's new for me, taken with me, is glue sticks. Because, if something falls off, like one of the labels or something, if it falls off, then okay. Another thing that I do have in my little, I got this at Hobby Lobby, by the way. Hobby Lobby, Hoblob, and the briefcase was from Hoblob as well. But, I have paper clips and these little binder clip, or whatever you call them. Yeah, these guys. I have those because if I do need to put a bunch of cards together, I'll go ahead and snap them together. And it keeps them kind of... Also, I keep all of my cards in, usually, so what I do is I usually purchase like a little binder kind of thing with a bunch of index cards in them, and that's my index cards. But this year, or for this show, I was just like, I'm just going to grab whatever. I had some leftover index cards, and went ahead and went with that, and then just went ahead with the loose index cards, and I just keep them in this little, portfolio wallet thing. You can find it at Walmart. It's super, super simple. It's got little tabs. I've got them broken down into whatever. But I also store my ribbons in there afterward, because I will go back, and Mom and I have a system now that we're labeling all the ribbons, because I keep them. And if they do sell them, and they change their name, that's fine, but, they'll still have the ribbons from the previous owner, previous shows, whatever. But I'll put my ribbons in there too after we get done, and then when I come back home, I'll sort them all out when I get a chance to. Now, if you're wanting to sell stuff at the show, I have a separate tub for that. Also, I use tubs. I use big tubs, so but just be careful how you pack them. I have them broken down kind of between. I have my mini tub, which is on the very top, the small one. Then I have a custom tub and an OF tub. But they're kind of mixed together right now, just because that's going to be how it is. Because I have more OFs than I have customs. So, anywho, moving on. Sales tubs. I have a separate sales tub. I wrap my horses in there that I want to sell, and that's where they go. I have a sales sign. I also have a little sign that I printed out that has all of my Venmo, Cash App, whatever. If anybody wants to pay that, it has a QR code on there that they can scan, because I have a photography business, and that's easy for me, is the QR code stuff, because most of the time people will know if they're of the older generation or older and just don't want to deal with the online stuff. They usually pay me in cash. This is the photography thing. Or if they're my age or a little newer to technology, they'll do the QR thing. It just depends on the person, and I want to be the easiest to get along with, because I don't, when there's somebody that I'm dealing with that's difficult, it annoys the heck out of me. And I'm very adaptable. So on your sales stuff, I've got prices on everything, and if not, I'll just make them the day of. I'm not too worried about it. I can't talk. But I'm only taking boxed stuff this time. I've got an extra Athenian lady that I'm going to sell. I'm just probably not going to sell a whole lot. I might buy too much. That's what I'm afraid of. But I'm probably not going to sell a whole lot, just because that's not what I'm focused on this time. And that is going to be it for today. I don't have very much else. I will probably, hopefully, be covering a video of my Breyer Second Chance sale, sale stuff, just because, I don't know, they haven't given me any shipping info, and that's just Breyer, because right now they're back ordered with all the Blue Zoot stuff and all the other stuff. So, but, I think that'll be it as far as updates for just a bit. This will go out on my Friday off, which is coming up pretty soon. And then from there, it'll probably be BreyerFest Second Chance stuff. So I will be doing a collection tour, but so some of my stuff is not up on the shelf. And plus, also, I don't have a whole lot of shelf space, so I'll do my best. I'll go over whatever I've got. Also, as you're packing your tubs, it just kind of depends on what you've got on hand, but the safe stuff is, pony pouches. I use some bubble wrap, not a whole lot, just depending on it. Most of my customs are in pony pouches in muslin. I think that's how you say that. But if it's like an original finish, whatnot, I do use, bubble wrap. But it just kind of depends on what you got on hand. I use muslin a lot, though, for my custom. People use towels. I've seen people use towels. I've got some towels, some of them that are wrapped in towels. It just kind of depends. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. And you guys are amazing. I'm sorry if this is mass chaos right now, too. It's like midnight. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning for me because I'm working on photo stuff. Yeah. So here's to having multiple businesses all at once. So thank you so much for watching, and like and favorite, comment, whatever, all that's good stuff down below, whatever. Don't forget to like me on Facebook, and God bless. And we'll see you guys. I will be covering the show. I will be taking videos and stuff. That will go into my next video as well. I won't forget that. I don't know why I forgot to mention it. But anyway, I'll see you guys later. Bye.